there are neurons that they only respond to space and time, shapes and things like that, moving in particular directions and orientations. And it turns out Nancy was right. They use these stimuli called greeble stimuli, which any computer programmer would appreciate, which kind of morphs a face into something gradually that eventually just looks like this like alien thing they call the greeble. And the neurons don't respond to greebles. In most cases, they only respond to faces and familiar faces. Anyway, I'm summarizing a lot of literature, and forgive me, Nancy, and for those of the greeble people, if there are anything like, you don't come after me with pitchforks. If you come, actually, you know what? Come after me with pitchforks. I think you know what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
So the point is that in the visual system, it's very concrete up until about visual area 4, which has color pinwheels and seems to respond to pinwheels of colors. And so the stimuli become more and more elaborate. But at some point, you depart that concrete representation and you start getting abstract representations that can't be explained by simple point-to-point wiring. And to take a leap out of the visual system to the higher level concepts, what we talked about in the visual system maps to the auditory system, where you're encoding what? Frequency of tone, sweeps. So this is gonna sound weird to do, but like a Doppler, like hearing something, a car passing by, for instance. But at some point, you get into motifs of music that can't be mapped to just a what they call a tonotopic map of frequency. You start abstracting. And if you start thinking about concepts of creativity and love and memory, like what is the map of memory space?
Right.
Well, your memories are very different than mine, but presumably there's enough structure at the early stages of memory processing, or at the early stages of emotional processing, or at the earlier stages of creative processing, that you have the building blocks, your zeros and ones, if you will, but you depart from that eventually. Now, the exception to this, and I want to be really clear, because I was just mainly talking about neocortex, the 6-layered structure on the outside of the brain that explains a lot of human abilities, other animals have them too, is that subcortical structures are a lot more like machines.